Virgo, welcome to Aries season. This is your season ahead horoscope from Embodied Astrology, and my name is Renee. This is a general reading for Virgo, Virgo Sun, Virgo Rising, Virgo Moon. Everybody has Virgo in their chart, so if you know which house Virgo rules in your natal chart, and if you have any natal planets or points in Virgo, you can also listen through the lens of those ideas or experiences. And this is not a predictive horoscope. It is an offering of what I am feeling coming through in the energetic landscape for Aries season, along with some embodied awareness and somatic tools to work with the opportunities and the challenges by aligning with your breath, with your felt sense, and with your inner resources. Take what works, leave the rest. All right, Virgo. Aries is really turning up the heat. Aries is a fire sign, and it is considered to be the first of the fire signs, or cardinal fire. This is a season that begins a new zodiacal year, and Aries is, in some maps, the very first energy. It's the spark that lights the fire of creation. And in your chart, Aries exists in a very interesting place that has a lot to do with creation, with regeneration and transformation in particular. Creation is one way that some people talk about God or divinity or the divine substance of universal expression. The creator, creation is magic, and we are part of it. And everything inside of creation is constantly being recycled and regenerated. And it is just a truth of life that death is also part of it. And in this kind of cyclical awareness of regenerative potential, you are entering a new phase of your existence and experience. Aries rules the 8th house in the Virgo solar charts, and the 8th house is the place of death, dying, regeneration, and transformation. It's also a place where we get a lot of information about your psychology, and in particular, the ways that you orient inside of your psychology to the presence of death, dying, regeneration, and transformation. The presence of those energies becomes most acute when we are attached. And attachment is necessary as relational beings. And so relationships and other people are one of the primary ways that we get to experience attachment and also fear of death, or the psychology of death, dying, regeneration, and transformation. The 8th house sometimes also includes, when you hear people talk about it, things like sex and money and shared resources and power. It's definitely a space where we have to encounter what is not so easy or so conscious or immediately tangible and available for us to work with. But it's also a place where we get to engage in alchemy and magic. I have an astrology teacher who at one point talked to me about this place being the altar of the chart, and the place where we go to make sacrifices and really try and connect with energies that are beyond what is easily felt and seen and known. And this place is where the sun, like if you're thinking about the chart wheel as a journey of the sun over the course of a day, this is a place where the sun begins its descent. And so ancient astrologers also called it the gate of Hades, or the gate into the underworld. So it is a potent place of regeneration and transformative magic. And it's also a place where we are really coming into contact with the truth that is liminality and temporality and impermanence. And that's basically the guarantee that we get when we show up for life in these human body spacesuits, is that it's not going to last forever. It's pretty much the only guarantee that we get. So Aries season is not only bringing the presence of the sun into this place, there are also 2 retrogrades happening. Mercury and Venus are both retrograde in Aries as we begin the season. They will retrograde back into your opposite sign, Pisces, and that's where they will both station direct in Aries season. Mercury will make its re-entry back into Aries by the end of the season. Venus won't get there until the next season. But there's a lot that's going on in these parts of your chart that have so much to do with intimacy, with vulnerability, with a sense of power and shared power, and what happens in the alchemical mixing of relationship and attachment, and the transformation available inside of all attachments, and the regenerative, transformative potentials of our relationships are the places actually where we have to encounter loss, where we have to encounter fear and death. And death can be literal or metaphorical in this case, for sure. But, you know, new relationship energy is so exciting, and it's like, oh my God, you know, you're perfect. And there's all this like projection usually that happens when we first get to know people. But that time in a relationship is kind of not real. You know, people aren't really real when we first meet them and fall in love with them. It's a lot of mutual projection. And what comes after that, the conflict phase, as sometimes people call it, is so interesting. I mean, that's where we really get into the reality of a relationship. Can we go through things together? How do we transform? And in the conflict phase, sometimes, you know, it feels like a little bit of a death. It's like you have to let go of your projections of other people, and you have to let go of projections of yourself. Sometimes in relationships, we're so attracted to people at the beginning for our fantasies of who we're going to be, you know, with them. And so as relationships progress and mature, there are some significant kind of like letting go moments that actually provide the alchemical space for the relationships to really become what they are truly potential for. But we don't get that potential. It doesn't manifest. It doesn't realize until we go through these kind of regenerative processes. So I don't know why I just went down that route. Maybe someone needed to hear that. There's a lot of information kind of coming in about process in your relationships right now. And for sure, some Virgo identified folks out there are in a phase of relationship where there's deepening that's happening and complexifying that's happening, and some kind of transformation that wants to happen. And it might feel like something's dying, you know, or your attachment is getting threatened, or like you aren't the person you thought you'd be, or they're not the person they thought they'd be, or you thought they'd be. And like you're in some kind of thing that could actually really make some magic if you are brave enough, courageous enough, and if you can do the work internally with yourself that alchemy and transformation require. So that's not for everybody. Take what works. Leave me a comment. Let me know how things resonate for you. Before I get into more interpretation and we talk about the timing of Aries season, I want to invite us into a little bit of a felt sense exploration of Aries energy. Everybody has all 12 signs in their chart, and every sign lives in our bodies, and every sign has the place where it lives and the physiological and energetic patterns that it expresses through. So Aries lives in our heads, and in particular, the top and the front parts of our heads. So our upper faces, basically from the upper jaw to the top of the cranium, definitely including the eyes and the nose. Aries is a very instinctual kind of energy, and it has a lot to do with our organs of perception, and our eyes and our noses are so important when it comes to instinct and impulse. Aries also rules the front part of the brain, and this is the part of our brains where we are conscious and trying to be conscious. And in these parts of our brains, we often experience a lot of the self-focused narratives that kind of guide us through life. And so Aries is also representative of the I feeling. So I exist, you know, me, myself, and I. When you use the first person pronoun, when you say your name, when you locate yourself inside of your own existence, this is you embodying Aries as an energy. Now, in relationships, we have such a fabulous place to experience our sense of I feeling, because other people will really reflect to us potentials inside of ourselves. So where Virgo has Aries is in this place of shared resources and intimacy and vulnerability. And one of the messages that might come through there is that it is in relationship where Virgo really gets to strengthen, clarify, and fortify the true power of yourself. And relationships can evoke all kinds of ways of being. And polarity dynamics are huge, huge parts of relationships. And polarity dynamics can be pleasurable and displeasurable, and they can bring really heightened states of emotion. And so if you think about experiences you've had where you really felt a sense of, oh, it's me and them, you and me, right? And that could come up around conflict, that could come up around desire, that could come up around competitiveness or envy and insecurity. It could come up in, all kinds of different ways. And so I really want to invite you right now to tune in with any present moment situation that might call to your attention, where you are aware of some kind of polarity dynamic in a relationship right now. And the polarity dynamic is, there's you and then there's this other person, or maybe it's a group of other people. And inside of that, there might be excitement, enthusiasm, desire, and mutual, feelings of goodness. There might also be conflict. It actually doesn't matter right now, but just call that feeling to mind and start to notice where your story is inside of that. So where do you orient in your first person pronoun? The I, the me, the mine of this narrative and of this story. You might think about your desires, your ambitions. You might think about your likes and dislikes, attractions, aversions. Definitely dynamics where you feel like there's any kind of sense of conflict or oppositional polarity. It's pretty easy to feel that way. It can also really be easy to feel that when there's a lot of agreement and sense of enthusiasm and feelings of excitement, And in the excitement, especially with relationships, there could be a strong we. But I want to invite you to notice where the I is for you, the me inside the we. And you might feel into what, potentials are there, or what you're going to do inside of this collaboration, or what it's going to do for you, or something like that. Where's that part of the narrative? Okay, so allowing those feelings to be there, noticing what stories are coming up, then start to bring your attention to this Aries part of your body. And you could close your eyes if it feels okay. You might even use some touch to bring awareness into your forehead and the space between your brow and your temples, the bridge of your nose, the space between your eyes, your cheekbones. And I want to invite you to invoke some memories or some ideas of purposefulness. And again, this purposefulness could come up for you in conflict as well as desire, but where the I feeling gets really strong. Where you are really concentrated on what is most personal to you inside of this dynamic. Your desired outcomes, your fears, the ways that you feel like you might need to protect or defend or survive. I want you to notice the energy in your forehead and behind your eyes. And then start to bring some breath up into your head. And if it's possible for you to breathe through your nose, then breathe through your nose and follow the sensation of breath into your sinuses and into your face. If you need to breathe through your mouth, then notice the feeling of your inhalation rising up towards your head. And as you exhale, consciously and intentionally relax your brain. You might notice if there's any tension in your eyes or in the space between your eyes, and then use your mind to relax that part of your brain, inviting your eyes to relax. Start to let your awareness spread now into the back of your head. And with your exhalations, begin to track the movement of your exhale down your back body, down the two sides of your spine. So as you inhale, following the sensation of the inhale breath upwards and into your head. As you exhale, listening for the sensation that moves into the space behind you, into the back of your head, down the back of your heart, down the two sides of your spine. And any amount that you can invite your brain or your body to relax, any amount that your brain or body will take that invitation, let it go. Imagining that tension can move out of your body with your exhales. Let's bring some specific awareness now into the lower back. And if you were to cross your forearms behind you, this would be the area that I'm asking you to bring your attention to. You might grab a hold of opposite forearms and just breathe into that space of your low back. If for any reason that feels uncomfortable, send your attention and awareness to the area of your low back that's around your waist level or belly button height. Your lungs go pretty much this far down in your body, and it is possible to breathe that deep into your lungs. See if you can breathe into your back body in ways that expand and spread your breath into the tissues, into the muscles, into your skin. And as you exhale, continue to just relax your brain, relax your eyes, relax your face. Feel the space behind you as you inhale. And relax, giving your weight and your energy back to the earth as you exhale. And then continuing to breathe, maybe continuing to breathe in some of these ways. Allow your mind now to return to the relationship that you were focusing on a couple of minutes ago. Continuing to breathe and noticing what you notice as you come back to this relationship. Are there any new spaces of feeling, any ease or relaxation of tension? Anything available to you that wasn't available before? Okay, continuing to breathe in that way for as long as you want. Maybe through the duration of Aries season, this would be something that you can practice. Maybe through 2025, maybe for the rest of your life. Let me know in the comments if that breathing meditation did anything for you and what did it do. My hope is that it brought in a little bit of space. And in that space that you could feel yourself and maybe have some feeling of space inside the relationship that wasn't as available to you before. For some of you, especially those of you experiencing conflict, this kind of breathing can also open up space for a little bit of compassion or even curiosity around what someone else is experiencing, or maybe just a relaxation or easing of a readiness to respond, protect, or defend. Now, this is important for you, Virgo, because a lot is happening in Aries season, as I mentioned, and one of the things that's happening is that the outer planet Neptune is coming into Aries for the first time in almost 160 years. The last time Neptune came into Aries, the Civil War began on a collective astrology level. And not to say that any astrological cycle is going to be the same. It won't be. 160 years changes a lot. But we all are aware that we're living at a time where there is some really intense division, a lot of harm, a lot of violence, war, and conflict between people. And the ways that we relate need a lot of healing. Now, Virgo is an archetypal energy of a healer. And I think that a lot of you are really here, like you have come into this incarnation, this timeline, this lifetime to be in devotion to some kind of larger healing. And I'm going to say that I think that many of you are here for some kind of social healing or relational healing. At least that's what your astrology is telling me right now. And social or relational healing doesn't have to look like, psychology or therapeutic practices between people. It can include so many different fields of practice and awareness. But I think that a lot of you actually are really feeling called and compelled in some kind of way right now to do something that affects the larger whole of manifestation and life on Earth. And our social healing definitely needs to include the relationships that we have with non-humans. So much isolation has come into human consciousness as humans have become increasingly disconnected from Earth and land and our more than human kin. And I think that many Virgos are very sensitive to those connections and really feel themselves moved to take care of these relationships. So this breath guidance that I'm offering to you is one way. There are so many ways, but this is one way to practice regulating, co-regulating, and listening inside of relationships. And because of where Aries is in your chart, I think that a lot of you actually need Jedi skills right now. Like you need to be able to care for your own energy as you encounter the energy of others. And this includes passionate, playful, fun, beneficial energy as well, because there are ways that we can lose ourselves to the good stuff. And you really need to be able to locate yourself, Virgo, for the work that you are here to do. You need to be able to rest inside of your own experience. And even when you're excited, even when you're in love, you need to be able to return to your own anchor and locus of centered central awareness. And having somatic skills that can help you kind of like return and center in your own body are totally invaluable right now. And whether or not that practice resonates for you, there may be other practices that resonate more. These are things that you can do with other people. And when you breathe together, and it doesn't have to be in a guided way like that, it can simply be like, hey, it's been a long day. You want to take a couple breaths together, or you put your hand on someone else's back and just say like, hey, I see you working hard right now. Do you want to breathe into my hand for a minute? Just feel that I'm here supporting you. That kind of co-regulatory practice of coming into our bodies together is so much of what we need in times where it feels like momentum is accelerating towards more and more chaos, which it definitely does in 2025. And as we move into Aries season, The first 10 days of Aries season, from the equinox on March 20th until Neptune's entry into Aries on March 30th, encompasses a lot of movement through the sign, including the solar eclipse and new moon on March 29th, that feels like it could be potentially quite powerful for the Virgo charts. Now, I think that for Virgos, this is actually a somewhat internal feeling time, because that's what the 8th house is talking about, is like your psychology. And in some ways, this is like a hidden energy for you. But I feel that a lot of you are preparing yourself in ways that feel like it's a little bit behind the scenes. And there's so much need for you to have protection for your energy right now, particularly protection in your relationships with other people. And this feels like you need to know where your own boundaries are and where other people's kind of energy can meet your boundaries, and how you can meet them in their boundaries. And again, being able to return and center in your own energy is absolutely essential for knowing where your boundaries are and how to meet and navigate with other people. So the first 10 days of Aries season for Virgos feel like a very powerful time to breathe, to meditate, to concentrate and focus on your center, and to really try and contemplate and be reflective about how you feel affected by other people's energy. And just be curious about it, research it, like who and what, compels you to come out of your own center. When you come out of your own center in enthusiasm and playfulness versus in conflict, which direction do you go? How does your body-mind respond? What are your energetic patterns? This is such a great time for internal reflection and increasing awareness about how you navigate intimacy, trust, vulnerability, and power with other people. This sense of shared power is what I want to invoke for you as a point of meditation and reflection for the new moon on March 29th. It is a solar eclipse. It is the last eclipse in a series of eclipses that began in 2023. So as you reflect back on the last 2 years or so, think about the ways that you have been navigating sharing space, sharing energy, and sharing resources with others. There's something that is happening for you right now that is about letting go of certain kinds of decorum that are false, letting go of ways that you may have performed intimacy so that you can have actual intimacy. Some of you are like needing to be more messy in public. Some of you are needing to allow the parts of yourself that are not like put together or figured out actually be really held and cared for in your relationships. And there's a feeling of risk that I think is really present for a lot of you right now. There could be a feeling of danger around letting other people in or letting yourself be seen in these ways. But there's also underneath any sensations of risk or danger, so much opportunity. And the opportunity here feels like increased abundance on multiple levels. So this could be increased trust that allows relationships to grow into greater manifestation. This could be increased resources because you are able to collaborate and share with people in new and different ways. And this allows for some combined amount of effort to get more of what everybody needs. This could be an increased sense of confidence that's coming in for you that is helping propel you into some kind of new chapter where you are then able to draw in and magnetize more of what you want and more of what you need. But your life is asking you to be more relational right now. And what I'm feeling is that a lot of you, what this actually means, what this actually requires is that you have to let down your guard a little bit. You have to be seen more. And it's like, oh no, there can be a kind of like, wretched feeling for some folks out there. There can be a lot of vulnerability. And there's so much strength in this. And it's the kind of strength that is not muscular force to protect and defend. It is clear internal strength. It's strength of your spirit. It's strength of your integrity. So practice breathing and notice when you get activated inside of relationships, what happens? Like if you go into a place where you feel like you gotta fight or flee, or someone's on your case, or you feel unsafe and you're trying to like hide or protect yourself or something, where do you go? And then breathe. Relax your brain. Try and give back to the earth the tension that does not serve your body and mind, and see if you can find a state of some amount of inner peace or inner centering that can help you see the situation in a kind of new way. Now, as we move into the month of April and towards the full moon on April 12th, Mercury, your ruling planet, will be stationing direct on April 7th. And throughout the month of April, and especially in this first half of April, there's a lot that's going on in your opposite sign, Pisces. And that is where Mercury is stationing direct on the 7th. And it's also where Venus will be stationing direct on April 12th, which is the same day as the full moon. Venus is the ruler of Libra, where the full moon will be. There are big themes coming up for you right now around partnerships and who you want to be engaged with in what ways for how long. What are the contracts and the agreements? A lot of you are really getting some good clarity right now about what you want and need and what you don't want and don't need. And it is 100% up to you to honor those lessons that have been coming through and the clarity that is landing for you. Now is the time to be really courageous about it, my friends. If you know that you don't want something, end it. Put a stop to it. If you know that you want something, go for it. Let your desires be known. This is the time for you to do it. This definitely requires courage. This definitely requires you coming out of your shell and being seen, right? So do the inner work, calm yourself, relax your brain, and then take a risk. Listen to what your inner guidance is telling you that you want and that you need, especially when it comes to partnerships. Your values and value systems are really central right now. So you don't want to be partnering with people where there's a clear misalignment of values. You definitely don't want to be partnering with people who don't value you, and you definitely don't want to be partnering with people who you don't value. So if there are like situations that you've just been in for a long time and you're in them because you've been in them, and like to get out of them would be to lose all the investment that you've already put into them, but that's actually the only reason that you're in them, babe, it's time to go. You have to just release. Trust that abundance is coming in if you make the space for it. Don't hold on to what you don't want. Please, please, please. If there are situations that are ready to end, this is the time to do it. You will thank yourself later. I promise you. Now, not everybody is in such a dramatic situation. Some of you just need to have some conversations. Some of you want to take things to the next level with somebody. Some of you are happy with where you're at, but there's like an issue that just needs to get some airtime. Now is the time. Be courageous, say what needs to be said, invite others into the process with you. Now, this breath that we did can also be so helpful for those kinds of circumstances. Those of us who definitely who feel ourselves to be in service, to other people, which Virgo placements can definitely do, can get real uncomfortable about having needs sometimes. And that can create a somatic situation, a bodily situation, where then like you go to try and have the conversation about whatever it is, and then you're weird about it, and the weirdness can be like, oh, like all of a sudden you're anxious, you're insecure, and you forget what you were trying to say, or you're weird about it and kind of like angry, and you get into your resentment, and you like make it about an issue that it's not even about, or whatever. So many different ways people can be weird. Speaking from my own experience in Virgo placements, and other signs, not just Virgo, okay? All the signs can be weird in relationships, literally all of them. Breathe, 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 breathe. Relax your brain, feel the space behind you. This space of the lower back that we are breathing into is Libra's domain. Libra is a relational energy of reciprocity, mutuality, balance, and beauty. When we can calm and pacify these parts of our bodies and give ourselves support, we remember that we are not alone. And this can be so helpful when we have to have conversations that feel hard or where there's some kind of tenderness or vulnerability, and we're asking for what we want or asking for less of what we don't want. So breathe, give yourself support, remind yourself that you are here in multidimensional, multitudinous relationships. You are so loved. You are supported by many beings, seen and unseen, known and unknown, felt and unfelt. Give yourself that support before you try and have these conversations. As Venus stations direct and this full moon arrives and blossoms in our consciousness, there are also some cool new opportunities for you to be thinking about your resources and how you can bring in more of what you want and what you need into your life in general. This is a time for you also to be feeling your own sense of desire and impetus to grow and explore new realms of your own experience and put yourself out into the world in new and different ways. And so some of what you want or don't want in relationships could be general and not have to do with specific others, but just the feeling of, oh, I want to be this kind of person in the world, or I want people to see me in this kind of way. You might have an image in your head of who you are becoming, and this full moon wants to help give you what you need to realize and manifest it. So definitely pay attention to your likes, your dislikes, your attractions, your aversions. And as you pay attention to what you want and what you don't want, also pay attention to the ways that you kind of like energetically get moved around your own center and practice really staying in your center about it. There are powerful new configurations aligning in 2025 and 2026 that are taking us into the future. And for Virgos, there is so much power in collaboration. There's so much power in mutuality. But in order for you to realize that power potential, you have got to be real about it. You need to be here for us to be relating with. We don't need an act. We don't need you to do the things that you think we want you to do. We need you to be you, Virgo. And that means that we need you to be you when you're having a bad hair day, when you don't know how to move forward with whatever, when you're feeling the kinds of ways that you feel. We actually need to be able to relate with you there. So please love yourself and let us love you by breathing, practicing, staying in your center, and letting us meet you there. The last week of Aries season, we get a lot of fire energy. Mercury is moving back into Aries. Mars is moving into Leo. That's the sign that comes before yours. I feel like things are heating up right now for everybody, for the planet, and for Virgos. There is this kind of sense of something is happening backstage. I don't know what it is for you, but y'all have a plan. Something is hatching. I don't know what it is. It's moving you. You are feeling moved. You are feeling ready to move. And over the course of the next several months, it is going to become more present and aware and conscious for you. Your plans are going to be able to formalize a little bit more. But in Aries season, a lot is happening in the internal, and it really needs your attention because this is where you are transforming. This is where you are alchemizing, regenerating, and getting ready for your big reveal. Virgo, if you enjoy my offerings and you feel benefit from this horoscope, Please like, share, and subscribe. Please support my work. The number one way to do that is by sharing it. Send links to the horoscopes to anyone who you think might appreciate them. Other great ways to support this work are to come to some of Embodied Astrology's events and classes. We offer a lot more than horoscopes. We've got things going on throughout the month and every week. On Monday mornings from 8 to 9:30, you can join me on Zoom for Somatic Space, which is a playful space where we work with movement, meditation, guided visualization to prepare ourselves for the astrology of the week ahead. I always feel so much better after those practices. I really feel supported by them, and they have helped me so much move through the weeks with everything that the astrological weather is bringing. On March 22nd, we have a really special event coming up, which is a conversation with the activist and astrologer Laura Chung. Laura is really interested in revolutions and revolutionary astrology, and she is going to join me to look at the astrology of revolutionary times in history and how those times and those cycles are manifesting in 2025. You don't need an astrologer to tell you that these are times of revolution. The revolution and the evolution are here, so let's work with them. Astrology is a great way to think about timing, mapping, and coordinating ourselves with the growth that is ready to happen. We've got all kinds of things happening at Embodied Astrology. We have a community learning space, lots of study groups. If you love astrology and want to be about it in ways that are experiential, experimental, and embodied, so do we. So check us out, embodiedastrology.com, and you can find all the links in the show notes below. Virgo, I love you. I'm wishing you all the best in Aries season and beyond. Bye for now.